Good afternoon. I'm Dorothy Grace Daniels.
And I'm Hassel Wilkinson, and this is Oxford Outlook.
Welcome to today's episode of a student production made by Oxford's broadcast students.
Today, this episode is dedicated solely to bringing light to a controversial topic in the senior class.
Stay tuned after the break to check it out.
Last year, it was announced that senior superlatives would no longer be included in the yearbook. This came after students and parents found issues regarding these categories. This week, we decided to get opinions from both sides of the issue. Let's take a look at this piece.
One of the great things about being a senior is all the festivities and activities held to celebrate the past 4 years. Although there are many activities and traditions at our school, COVID and student backlash have resulted in some being taken away. We talked to some students on both sides of the issue, along with Principal Hamilton. Due to student requests to stay anonymous, we have hidden their faces and distorted their voices, so that they may remain anonymous. Let's hear from some of those students who are in favor of senior superlatives being provided by the school.
I mean, it gives everybody a chance to really show who they really think you are, and it's just fun to be known for something.
I mean, a lot. I mean, it's a reflection of the last 4 years and tells us who's who. And
senior superlatives are a big part of senior year, and I think it helps us be able to reflect on the past 4 years, so it's really special.
it makes me very angry. I recently found out why they took all superlatives away because of that. That makes me very angry.
I kind of felt like I really was mad because it's not fair to us. Because like the last year kid, group got to do it, so I think this group should get to do it. But
I don't think it's really fair to the seniors, especially the ones that have been involved and are really close with the rest of their class. I think it's kind of a disgrace, but I think their class president has done a good job at being able to replace them. So, in our senior group meet, we voted for senior superlatives, and our class president posted them on our student section Twitter, and it seemed very fair, and we were able to elect a few more kids and include a few other people since it was outside of the school.
I mean, yeah, we did them outside of the school, but that's a joke. I mean, I'd like to see them in the yearbook where they've always been, where they should be.
I'm really kind of I'm upset with it, but because the last year staff they probably wouldn't have cared for Corona was here and stuff like that, but they probably would have gave us a shot to do this. But I still like the staff. They treat us with respect. We give them respect. And really, I understand COVID bad and all, but I mean, they need to kind of chill with it. They're not really too much chill with it like this.
Well, not letting us have a senior breakfast or a formal is pretty annoying. I mean, senior breakfast has not even got to do with the school. I mean, you literally do that outside of school, so I don't know why we didn't do that, honestly. I don't know, of course it's been different for everybody, but hasn't really affected me that much personally, other than the events that we didn't have to get to do and the things that we're supposed to be able to do as seniors that we haven't gotten to do. It's very annoying and makes me very angry, but it's not that bad, I guess. I think that it is complete BS that we can't go to a basketball game and can't cheer on people that we've known for a long time, and it's a joke. It's a joke, is what it is.
With the new admin and COVID, I feel like senior events have kind of been crazy this year and not necessarily sticking to Oxford tradition. There was a little bit of negative feedback from some students that did not get superlatives, but that's expected every year, I think. If the senior parade gets taken away this year, I don't think it's going to be fair to any of us, because even with COVID, it's an outdoor event, and it's just something that we've looked forward to forever, and it's a tradition at Oxford, and our class has already had homecoming, formal, senior breakfast, and so much more taken away, that if senior parade gets taken away, I think, along with students, a lot of parents would be upset, and it would just be a big stink.
It was fun. It was challenging, of course. Everybody going their several ways. It's just gonna be fun. We get 2 more months to go. Just have fun.
Let's try not to let them take anything else away from us.
After getting the point of view from seniors who support superlatives being done by the school, let's hear from a student who is against some of the things that superlatives represent.
I think they're kind of like a fun little, activity for the seniors to kind of see like how they've all grown and to see like what their characteristics have been the past 4 years. I think they're fine. I don't like the current trend that we have in the school as far as, you only see the popular white kids, or you only see like the football players. If you see any African Americans, you see mostly the football players, or maybe even the basketball players. We're not the majority in the school, so it's kind of hard to really say something about any person. Because I think what the problem was this year was because we did it separately, so of course only certain people voted because only certain people, were in that type of court. I feel like Oxford High School does a great job at representing African Americans. I don't really think it's necessarily affected senior events. I think COVID really has affected senior events, and I think a lot of administration, they have a lot of what they play and what they don't want to do is make their own decisions. So I think it's kind of made them take a step back and kind of hold a lot of our senior events, which is kind of sad because of course we all want to have those senior events. I think they're trying to do the best that they can. But at the end of the day, someone's going to be upset, so.
After talking with students on both sides of the issue, we will now sit down with Mr. Hamilton about why senior superlatives were taken away and what the plan is for the future. During this discussion, we also brought up the topic of the senior parade. Check it out to see his side.
I'm Noah Hamilton. I'm the lead principal at Oxford High School. So I actually, before we even got to that point, I had a handful of parents that had contacted me with their concerns about superlatives, how they were viewed, and kind of the implications that they had for students. And so that made me kind of investigate and look and see. And as I went through it, I agreed that the way they were put together at that time was not conducive and beneficial for the students. I felt like it was something that was potentially damaging for some students based on what some of the categories were, and I was always open to, if you can change the categories, then we'll go from there. And I've really never been presented with much of that since that. So in other words, students have never come to me and said, okay, how about these options? We don't have any yet, so we have some discussions. I've had a couple students reach out to me and a couple parents with the PTO that have reached out to me just in the last few days. Now that we're about to get prom behind us, we're going to sit down and start planning that and working through that and see what all we can do to benefit the students and still keep it with COVID protocols and all those things that have to go along. We're still under the governor's mandated K-12 protocols, so we still have to follow all of that. Anything that goes down, I'm never opposed to an option or an alternate plan. I just think it has to be presented right, and it's got to be the best plan. Everything we do really has to be about the students, and it needs to benefit them and be something good for them. So I'm always willing to have those conversations and have them quite frequently. It's not uncommon for students to come see me about certain situations and just want to talk about it and see if we can come up with a better plan.
The senior parade and senior field day are still under planning. Thanks so much for listening to the admin and students' view on this topic.
With prom coming up this weekend, we want to remind students of the dangers of drinking and driving.
Every 15 minutes, a teen dies from drunk driving. We value your life. Don't drink and drive.
We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the Oxford Outlook. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Dorothy Grace Daniels.
And I'm Hassel Wilkinson, and we'll see you next week.